Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Cup of Joe with Joe and Joe podcast. I'm your host, Joe, and with me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Joe.
We pick up where we left off. Mahito v. Todo v. Yuji. And Mahito's got some tricks up his sleeve.
This is exactly what I wanted from the next episode. First thing I want to talk about here, the style of this episode. Joe, how did you feel about how everything looked in this one?
It changes again. And I like the way this looks. This is a bit more, the word that comes to my mind is normalized. Kind of calms down a little bit, but still looks sharp and very, very clean. It's not as stylized. And I'll say overall, immediately when I was done this episode, I felt like I finished watching an episode of Dragon Ball Z. That's how this episode feels.
Yeah, I would agree. The stylization of this episode is nowhere near as insane as it would be in Sukuna against Maharaga, or even Sukuna against Jogo. Like, those two were a lot more experimental, I'll say, in their animation. At least from my novice eyes. This one, it looks really cool, but I do get the feeling of a bit more like Season 1, almost, of Jujutsu Kaisen coming in here, which isn't a bad thing. Because the stylization of that, still pretty good, but it's like it's a mixing of the Season 1 and Season 2 stuff. I do get what you're saying, where it's like, it's more, this is going to be a little bit more toned down from all the crazy shenanigans stuff that we've had going on the last couple of episodes. Not saying we're not going to try as hard, because clearly they do some really cool, awesome stuff in this episode. Chief among them, we see how many more Black Flashes in this episode? It's like three?
I think.
Yeah.
I think it's three.
Yeah, something like that. And each one of them has insanely stellar impact frames and follow through with like the way everything looks after you hit them.
The fight, though, was very, very good. I liked it. I liked how we went right into it with Mahito basically doing his omnidirectional attacks, trying to split them up. And his whole plan has been like, look, I just need to take down Yuji because he's tired right now. Todo, I don't even want to mess with. So we get to see some of Mahito's different techniques, whether it's him severing his own head, creating a transfigured human that's super strong. There was a lot of cool, unique stuff coming from Mahito's end. This is probably the most interested I've been in Mahito the whole season, especially later on when he becomes Frieza. Loved all that. And again, we say this, when the halfway mark hits, I felt like, holy crap, it's only halfway through the episode, because all of the quote-unquote beginning kind of like low-level fighting that's happening between Todo, Yuji, and Mahito is still super, super interesting. It looks awesome. The thought process behind Mahito's decisions of being like, okay, I can't use my domain because both of them are here, and if I touch Yuji, and then Sukuna's going to kill me. Like, it's all thought out, which is really, really appreciated, especially from us. But then, on the other end, you have Todo, who is planning it out as well, and right now it feels like a stalemate between the three of them.
Yeah, that is until Mahito remembers something that he saw Gojo do a couple episodes ago, and I find this very interesting. It's so often anime, movies, whatever it is, like just in stories in general, a lot of the times the hero or the protagonist is the character who will pick up on things that other characters do, whether that be the antagonist or just side characters, and they'll incorporate those lessons they learn into like their future fights. This time, the antagonist is the one to do that. Mahito picks up on a trick that Gojo did when he activated his domain for a split second, and he's like, oh, if I do that this time, I think I'll be okay even in the presence of Sukuna. I don't understand why Sukuna doesn't seem to care this time. Like, well, we can just cut right to that.
That was confusing.
Yeah.
I was very confused what was going on with that conversation. I assume it will come back later, but at the time, no clue what was going on because we get no feedback from Sukuna. He's just kind of standing there smirking.
Yeah, I don't know if, like you said, we'll cut back to it and then we'll actually get some kind of dialogue from him, like we'll get more context for that, or if it's just Mahito just intuitively knows what it is his responses are, like what that look means. I don't know. But from what I gathered from this episode, it seems like Sukuna doesn't care because he has other plans, and Mahito seems to be clued into that, at least a little bit. I don't really know what they would be. I don't know why Sukuna doesn't care that he's touching his soul again, because he's in the inner world of Sukuna there. I don't know. At first I thought it would be like, oh, okay, he was only aiming the attack at Todo, so maybe it was only hitting him, but no, he's there. He's talking to Sukuna, so I don't know what's going on there. I would like to know why he's not getting his ass handed to him by the King of Curses. Maybe he's tired. Maybe Sukuna's just like, I did a big explosion, I made a massive crater, I need to take a nappy. Mahito gets this one get out of jail free card. He's on the Monopoly board. This is it. That's your one.
Mahito does land the domain though, and our boy Todo loses the arm. Once I saw it happen, because I'm worried about Yuji with the whole Sukuna thing, and then it quick cuts to Todo, and I'm like, oh no, Todo's losing his arm, and he chops it off in a badass manner, and then when it hits me, I go, fuck, he can't clap.
I was so ready for him to like start clapping any other part of his body, because I think back to not the previous episode, but the second previous episode, I don't know, one of the episodes where like, he catches the blades of Mahito in each one of his hands, and then Mahito, because he can like morph his body, is still coming at him, and then Todo's yet still somehow manages to clap, and then Itadori switches in place with him. So I was assuming he could also clap using other parts of his body, but I guess not, because then later on in the episode, he confirms, after he does the biggest fucking bluff to Mahito, saying that the clap is just the applause of the soul, and he doesn't need his hands to do it. And then it's the fake out, and he's just like, yeah, the Boogie-Woogie is dead. And I'm like, what? No, it can't be. We only got 2 Boogie-Woogies. Please, no. But the speed at which he's like, I'm cursed, cuts off the hand, no hesitation. Great at showing his resolve. Every scene that Todo is in just makes me like him more and more. He's so competent and kind and cool, and we're gonna get to what's in the fucking locket that he kisses in a little bit, and it's really fucking cool and kind of funny, but also really heartfelt. Do you want to just talk about that now? What's in the fucking locket?
First thing I want to say, this is like the first time we see Todo actually take damage. Like, obviously when he fights the transfigured human and he's figuring out how that works, he takes some damage flying through the fucking building. I was like, whoa. Todo like usually just owns everything. So that was cool to actually see him take damage. But now he gets fucked up. Mahito's like, look, I gotta go for him and finish him. Actually, it's Todo. You're not gonna be able to finish him perfectly. And as Mahito goes to touch his stomach and transfigure him, he moves all of his cursed energy to his abs to protect himself. At the same time, we're cutting back and forth between the necklace slowly falling off that he kisses and keeps close. And when it hits the ground, it opens, and inside is a picture of Yuji and the idol that he loves. I audibly went, oh my god, like that is so fucking great. You didn't need that. You didn't need to do that, but oh my god, this is probably my favorite moment in the whole season.
The fact that it's not just the idol, but Yuji made it inside the locket, you already know how much he fucking loves that idol. I think her name's like Tanaka or something like that.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so he's got Tanaka on the one side, he's got Yuji on the other. That just goes to show how much he actually cares about Yuji. And the scene melts from the crater in Shibuya into just like a flowery scene. And he's having like this wonderful daydream, and they have the little disclaimer in the top left corner being like, it's just in his imagination. And he's just beating the shit out of Mahito in his mind. He's having a grand old time. And it's just so funny is the first word that comes to mind. Then you think about it for a second longer, and you're like, that's kind of heartwarming. And then he gets one final clap. Because Mahito doesn't understand how his technique works. Really, I don't think any of us understood that he could do this. He claps Mahito's hand. He just gives it a slap, and he trades places with Yuji, and Yuji manages to land a black flash directly on Mahito's face, which, oh my god, the impact frame that you get in the middle of everything just flashing red, Mahito's face warping. Like, Mahito always warps, but this one, This one is pain. Fuck you, Mahito. Feel the pain. And he goes flying so fucking good. And then you see the damage. So his left hand is a fucking stump, and his right hand is burnt to a goddamn crisp because he touched Mahito, and he just, the transfiguring fucks it up. So he's got maybe like half a hand left. That's about it. But god damn it, did he fight until the fucking end, and then some, because he still helped Yuji with the mental assist against Mahito.
I loved it. I loved seeing Yuji. I mean, when we see Todo on the ground, I was like, wow, he does not look good. Like we've seen him so healthy and strong, and he got fucked up. To then Yuji be like, look, I gotta take the lead now. And then this comes into Mahito transformation, which a lot of things I want to say about this. We've been teased about it a little bit, and I like how it looks. His design, very cool. I don't completely understand why he did evolve, but that's okay. And the way that they did it, of being like, you're thinking it's going to be like this maybe like 30-second transformation scene because he explodes and turns into like the Akira human flesh thing, but it's a quick cut and then he's in his final form. Loved it so much.
I have mixed feelings on it. I agree with you, it looks pretty cool. I don't know if I like the idea of the final quote-unquote transformation being this literal. I always kind of thought when Mahito was saying he was trying to find like the perfect form of his soul, or the awakened form, whatever it is, like his ultimate iteration of himself, I always kind of took that as more of like a metaphor, like a mental thing, kind of like you discover really what it is that drives you. So actually seeing him transform, I could have taken it or leaving it. I could take it or leave it. Kind of just whatever. I do find it funny that so many of the design elements are similar to other curses that we've seen in the past. Like the head is very similar to Yuta's curse. I do agree with you. Looks a little bit like some of the Frieza forms. I'm thinking more like King Cold, though, I think is what I'm comparing it to more so. But
no, it would be Cooler.
Cooler
would be
that guy, yeah. I haven't seen Dragon Ball in a long time. Give me a break, all right? Everyone, get the fuck off my back. But the fight that comes afterwards, pretty cool. I think it's more cool conceptually and for reasons like the help that Todo gives and Yuji looking like a scarier monster than even Mahito's, hang on, I have to say the full name, instant spirit body of distorted killing form. Yes, that is apparently the full name. No, I'm not going to say that one again. You can't make me. There's no contract for this one. The fight itself at that point, like in this back half where it's the final form versus Yuji, not as strong as some of the other stuff that's been coming through, but given everything that all these animators have done and everything they've been through, understandable. It's still great. It's still very serviceable. It conveys everything clearly, interestingly. I love looking at it. It's just not as orgasmic for the eyes as some of the previous stuff.
It's definitely more down to earth and more just straight up hand-to-hand combat. The Todo fake out into the Black Flash is phenomenal. Once Yuji lands that, we make a very interesting switch into the episode, the last like 5-ish minutes. And I had a feeling something like this was coming, especially after kind of how much Yuji has been through. But what I'll say with this is that I think come the next season, the Yuji that we've been used to is going to be gone or very changed, because Yuji gives no fucks anymore. And he's getting a little scary.
I agree, and I'm hopeful that we get maybe not as much of a flip as this, but kind of like an Eren Yeager from season 3 to season 4 kind of a thing. Someone who's a lot more jaded, who's a lot more cynical, much more serious about the work that they're doing. Because, yeah, the dynamic of hunter and prey in this instance kind of flips. Whereas Mahito is normally the predator, Yuji is normally the prey. It gets completely inverted after the final Black Flash that Yuji lands on him, destroys his instant spirit body form, and then you get just a malnourished looking Mahito. He's there, just on his hands and knees, terrified. And yeah, Yuji just saying to him in this moment, he accepts, yeah, we are the same. Didn't want to believe it, but you know what? You're right. I'm going to kill you. And every time you reappear, I will keep killing you. Because that is what I am, and that is what I will do. And you even get, if the metaphor wasn't fucking clear enough, the scene changes again from the crater. You're in winter woods. Mahito is crawling away with a bunch of rabbits. Yuji is walking calmly behind him, followed by a pack of wolves. Are you getting it? Is the subtext dead enough for you yet? Here we can beat into the ground more. But before Yuji manages to put the killing blow on him, we get the brainy boy back, Joe. I'm just having fun on the ride. I'm just throwing my hands up and squealing like a little kid. I'm like, yeah, do whatever you want. I'm having fun. As long as it's still this good looking and this solid story-wise, I'm like, this is good. I like this.
Shout out to my guy Todo, best big brother ever.
Absolutely. Todo is the best big brother. They might be my favorite duo. Every single time Todo and Yuji are together on screen, oh my god, it's number one, a feast for the eyes, and number two, it's just a heartwarming bro and bro dynamic. It's great. I'm interested to see what happens to Todo going forward here, because it looks like peak fighting days seem to be behind him now. It's like, alright, the Boogie-Woogie is dead, but Todo survives. So where does that leave him? I guess we just have to wait and see. So, with all that being said, everyone, hopefully you guys are still enjoying Shibuya Arc as much as we are. And always remember, we'll love you, we'll leave you, and goodbye.